So what are GAAS? The generally accepted auditing standards are defined by the AICPA and AUC sections 200.02 and 200.03. So first in 02, they explain that GAAS are developed and issued in the form of statements on auditing standards, and they're codified into AUC sections. And so we can see exactly what does this mean on their website, where they have all of them listed. So let's go to a browser here, and we can type in the website address. And let's scroll down here. We've got the clarified statements on auditing standards. And here's a little background information about them. And so here they have a list of all of their standards currently in place. So each time they issue a new standard, they are written in what's called SASs, statements on auditing standards. And then those standards are put into particular sections that pertain to different areas of performing the audit. And so back in 2012, they did a complete overhaul of the structure of the standards, and that was issued in SAS number 122. And so that's where the SAS numbers begin. And the current section that we're going through is section 200, and this one explains the overall objectives of the independent auditor while he's performing an audit under GAAS. And if we scroll down, we can see other sections that pertain to steps of the audit, for instance, the terms of the engagement, quality control, audit documentation, considerations of fraud, so on and so forth. And each of these areas, performance of the audit, are codified into different sections, and these go all the way up to in the 900s or so. And so when we're performing an audit under GAAS, we're saying that we are following all of these standards in these different sections. And as new standards are released, they come out as new SASs. So the current one we have is SAS 122, the one that we're going through, but they will start issuing more SAS numbers, 123, which modified each of these AUC sections, and SAS 124 added a new section, SAS 125, so on and so forth. And then at the very end, they've issued new SASs that have not gone into place yet. For instance, they don't have to be followed until, I think, around 2020, so they haven't been formally codified into a particular AUC section like this just yet. So if you wanted to read the composition of each of these sections, you could click here, and it pulls up a PDF document with all the rules for that particular section. So let's go back to the particular section that we are looking at, section 200.02. And so they specify that generally accepted auditing standards are written in the context of an audit of financial statements by an auditor. So when they wrote these standards, and when we follow these standards, they're solely for the purpose of auditing financial statements. But there are, however, different types of audits. For instance, audits of historical financial information, compliance audits, audits of internal control, that are integrated with the audit of financial statements. And so if you want to say that you did these types of audits under GAAS, you have to adapt the standards here to apply to those audits, because GAAS's initial intention wasn't narrowed down to these particular types of audits. And they also specify here that the standards under GAAS aren't narrowed in on following particular rules of law or regulation, and so you should use those particular standards in connection with those types of audits, because those responsibilities are different than the ones that were promulgated by GAAS. And so although we may find that GAAS is helpful when performing those types of audits, the auditor should use an effort to ensure compliance with all of those other legal or professional obligations that are outside of GAAS. So next, the section 200.03 explains when can we say that we followed audit procedures in line with GAAS. So when can we associate the GAAS audit with the financial information that we're auditing? And so the only way that we can do that, or the only time we can do that, is when we've applied all the applicable procedures recommended by GAAS in that audit. Otherwise, we can't say that we performed the audit under GAAS. And so if we did not perform a full audit under GAAS, and maybe we just prepared the financial statements or reviewed them, there's another set of standards called the Standards for Accounting and Review Services that address those types of engagements. So in that situation, we should say we performed that engagement using the Standards for Accounting and Review Services instead of we performed the engagement under GAAS. Those particular standards can be found on the AICPA's website as well, but that's outside the scope of what we are explaining here, and will be reviewed in a different video.